Welcome to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. Today, we are joined by David Weiss, also known as Flat Earth Dave. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I always look forward to talking to people that think we live on a spinning ball. I find it fascinating.
Likewise, I find the concept of a flat Earth fascinating as well. So I think we'll have a great conversation here.
Sure.
Now let's start off by asking, who is David Weiss?
I'm just a guy that was born in Fairfield County on the East Coast here in America. I went to school, college, graduated college, went into the workforce, worked for a big corporation, left there, started my own business. I was doing super well, and I was doing a podcast for fun on the side that had to do with conspiracies. Conspiracies. Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm a conspiracy analyst. I'm a truth seeker. And all of a sudden, Flat Earth started coming up. And like any normal person, I would just mocked it, laughed at it, and told anybody that suggested that I watch a video that they're banned. I just banned them from our social media because they're too stupid to even watch my comedy conspiracy podcast. But then I was forced to look into it, and I went in with a bad attitude. I went in with, I'm going to debunk this. I'm going to prove you flat earthers wrong. I'm just going to prove the globe. I don't even have to disprove flat earth. I'll prove the globe. And that's how you become a flat earther. So since then, flash forward, I have left my own company. I do this full time. I created an app to help people learn about flat earth because of the censorship. You probably didn't even know about flat earth, most of you. And it's being censored along with many other things. And here we are having this discussion. And today, by the time we're done with this podcast, you're going to see some doors that you never knew were there. Excuse my voice. This is my sixth interview today. And I don't want you to be a flat earther at the end of this video. I want you to go, oh boy, I got some work to do. I got some things to look into. I got some things I got to verify myself because this guy makes a lot of sense. So here we go.
Okay, so first things first, I guess, let me ask the question that I'm seeing on your shirt. Are you a blue dot? Answer that one.
Wow, that's the first time that's happened. So let me share my screen real quick, and we'll jump forward. That's kind of funny. I'm glad you asked, of course. Let me see.
Well, I mean, it's right there.
There it is. You know what? And so this is the app that shows the flat earth. And there's the handshake button on the right. Click that. That's called the Flat Earth Friend Finder. And what that is, these are the flat earthers that are around me. These are flat earthers that are here on the East Coast, right? There's flat earthers all over. If I move over, go to the Midwest, go to the West Coast. Where are you guys located?
We're in Ontario, Canada.
Ontario, Canada. Where would Ontario be? Would we straight up?
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah, you just want to go. It'll be over Michigan.
Over Michigan. So
yeah, I was gonna say with that where you are now, I don't even know where you are.
Hey, you know what? You know what I can do? I can go this way. This will show the whole map. So Ontario.
I guess we're really close to Buffalo, New York. If you
Canada.
There we go.
Okay.
Ontario, ON. Yep.
Yeah. So not too many up there, but that's okay. We'll get it. But these are all people that are that have the app and have just logged into the friend finder. And one of the things you can do is you can tap on a dot and you can send that person a text message, or I can tap on I have a radius set for 50 kilometers. And if I tap on the button on the top left that says there's 209 people, I can send them all a message going, hey, we're having a flat earth meetup at Joe's Pizza Bar and Grill tomorrow at 4, and it's a way for flat earthers to get together and conspirize together, I guess.
Now, I have a question for you. When you were just pulling that up, it said you just pulled up a range of 50 kilometers.
Yeah.
Being American, why are you measuring in kilometers? Like, I'm very used to kilometers being Canadian, but usually when I mention kilometers to an American, they look at me like I have 3 heads. Because
I got tired of arguing with my developer, and it really didn't matter. And it's not just America. There's flat earthers all across the world. Like if I go, oops, I keep hitting the wrong button. If I go to, I hit the flag and say like United Kingdom, they use kilometers over there, right? So I go to United Kingdom, plenty of flat earthers over there in the United Kingdom. So I went with kilometers because I think more of the world uses kilometers than feet. I mean, than miles.
Mm-hmm.
So, flat Earth is it's a amazing topic. So let's back out of there. Let's find out what flat Earth is and what what the flat Earth isn't. That's more important. And we're programmed from before we can talk that the Earth is a globe. You know, one of the first worksheets that a kid brings home from school is the orbits of the planets and the moon and the sun. So when you think flat Earth, you think this. This is what you've been brainwashed to think flat Earth is: a disk in space with a bunch of other round planets or other flat planets. Right? You gotta clear all of that out of your mind. The flat Earth is not a disk in space. The only people that think that are globe believers that don't even understand what their globe model is. And no offense, but you guys probably can't answer 3 simple questions about the globe, right? We have one of our guys is traveling around the country for like 11 months, and it's everybody. And by the way, I got all the questions wrong when I was originally asked, right? Before I knew about this, I got them all wrong. So here, let's just hit the questions. How many times does the Earth rotate in one day? Very easy question.
I don't know.
The Earth rotate what, around the sun?
No, how the Earth's rotation, how many times does the Earth spin in one day?
Once.
Very good. You got one. Second question.
Okay.
What is the diameter of the Earth?
Oh boy.
Or the circumference? What's the circumference around the equator? 24,901 miles. How fast is the Earth spinning at the equator? Now, that one you can figure out. It goes around once a day. It's just over 24,000 miles. So it's just over 1,000 miles an hour. Okay? 24,000 miles, one day.
Right.
But these are basic concepts that globe believers don't even never really thought about because they were told it. It wasn't drilled into them in school. You know, they don't realize that in the heliocentric model, you have to believe that you are spinning, corkscrewing, and twirling in 4 different directions at once. You're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So when you watch the sunset, all of your God-given senses tell you that the sun is just moving away and going lower due to perspective. But the heliocentric model says, no, you're sitting on a ball. You're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. And that's why the sun looks like it's going down, right? You're on a spinning ball. Mm-hmm. It's falling over backwards. And that's why the sun is going down. That's crazy. You're orbiting the sun. This rose, the sun's moving. And you're orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. Funny number, right? This is a very satanic system. And you'll see that number coming up a lot. And then you're chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles per hour. This is the hypersonic sled. It's going by a Mach 8.6. Watch careful. I would say don't blink, but it doesn't matter because you can't see it anyway. It's just going too fast, right? So we're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than this.
Crazy.
We're chasing the sun at 100 times faster than this. And these aren't straight lines. We're orbiting, speeding up and slowing down, curved paths, curved orbit, rocketing through space, traveling 4.5 billion miles a year. And you know what doesn't lie? Nature. Nature doesn't lie. What is nature telling you? What is this lake telling you? What is this lake telling you?
I just see clear and peaceful. That's pretty much what it's telling me.
It's telling you that this lake is not moving. This lake is not flying through space in 4 different directions at once at incomprehensible speeds. This lake is still. Now, the Earth has peaks and valleys. We have mountains. Mm-hmm. We have water, finds its level at rest. We have deep trenches. The deepest hole ever dug, for your information, is just short of 8 miles. No one has ever drilled any deeper than 8 miles. Okay. So, when they tell us they know what's at the center of the earth and they give us this whole, we got the molten core and this and that, that's nonsense, right? The deepest hole ever dug is just under 8 miles. And to put it into perspective, it's like drilling halfway through the skin of an apple. Okay. And when they were doing it, they were using ground penetrating radar to see what they're going to hit next. And guess what? They should have returned that and gotten their money back because it was wrong every step of the way. Oh, there's no more water. They hit water. Oh, there's no more rocks. They hit rocks. Whatever it was saying, it was wrong. Okay. So they got halfway through the skin. They hit an impenetrable barrier that they could not drill through for years. It could not blow a hole through it, could not drill, nothing. And they finally shut it down. But then somehow they know what the next 4,000 miles is. Okay. This is a meme. We were brought up on this meme. We're told that lava squeeches up through cracks and comes out volcanoes. More nonsense. Okay. A spinning ball in a space vacuum is insanity. Okay. The way I look at the earth is the earth system is the basement of the universe. So let me ask you a question. When it rains and water comes, where does water go? Does it go up a hill? No, it goes down a hill. And where does it come to rest? It comes to rest at the lowest spot. Water ultimately relentlessly seeks the ultimate base level, and then it lays at rest, right? So you have a puddle. What dictates the edge of a puddle? It's where the land is higher than the water. Because if I lowered that land a little bit, the water would run out and find another low spot, right? So a pond is a bigger puddle. A lake is a bigger pond. And our world, our oceans are a giant lake. And all of the islands, the continents are surrounded by water. But all of the water needs a container. And that container is land that is higher than our water, than the level of the water at rest. Okay. That land is called Antarctica. They tell us Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of the ball. They also do tell us that Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. The highest land on Earth. Well, no one has ever taken a picture of Antarctica. There's no satellite pictures of Antarctica. You get pictures of stuff on the edge, but no one has ever crossed Antarctica. There's a whole bunch of fake stories about it. Antarctica is the land that surrounds our pond. You've heard of the ice wall. Have you heard when people say the Antarctic ice wall? Have you heard that?
I haven't actually.
Okay. It was made very famous in the Game of Thrones. They talked about the ice wall, right?
That's why I don't know anything about it. I've never watched the Game of Thrones.
Good for you. Good for you. So, and people say, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures, some videos of the ice wall. It's not really a wall. It's the shoreline of Antarctica. It's the shoreline of our pond. And guess what? Antarctica is off limits to everybody. Okay. Corporations, people. Now you can spend $20,000, $50,000, $70,000 to go there for a couple days on a boat. You're barely allowed off the boat. They'll show you some penguins and stuff. They take you to this little peninsula here, which is gigantic. And that's it. Nobody gets to explore out here. So let's ask a question. What's out here? This pink line represents about 60 degrees south. And in 1959, the story we heard, whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. Admiral Byrd flew out in the 50s over Antarctica, Project High Jump, and discovered land bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever set eyes upon. And then they come up with the Antarctic Treaty the next year or the same year. And nobody's even allowed to question it until the year 2041 because we must protect the migratory paths of the penguins. Okay? That's before environmentalism was even a word. We're having wars fighting for resources and territory, and they just put Antarctica, filled with resources, off limits. It's the longest standing treaty in history. It's still standing today. And if you go there, you will be stopped by force before you even get to the shoreline of Antarctica. No one is allowed to explore Antarctica. Isn't that weird? We can deforest the Amazon, no problem. Kill the lungs of our planet, but we can't go on the barren ice. What's out there? What's in this out? Antarctica is likely bigger than all of the rest of the world combined. Or maybe it's set up like this. We live here Here's the United States, South America, Africa, Europe, Australia. Here's Antarctica. And then beyond Antarctica, more ocean and more land, extra territory. Extra territory. If somebody lived on the extra territory, what would you call them? An extraterrestrial. And if they came from to the inner space where we lived, where did they come from?
Outer space.
Extraterrestrials from outer space, just a couple thousand miles away. Okay, let's look at some more stuff.
Okay.
So if the Earth was a ball, the top half of the ball is the northern hemisphere, the bottom half of the ball is the southern hemisphere, right?
Right.
So the equator goes around the middle there. I actually have a graphic. Let me see. So here's the equators right here spinning around. So anything above this line is north, anything below this line is south. Okay. So if you had a two push pins and we're gonna connect them to any two places above this line, would an airplane ever need to cross the equator to get to from a northern origin to a northern destination? Would it ever need to fly below the equator to get there?
No, if the both points are above the equator, no.
All right. How about 2 points below the equator? Would it ever need to cross the equator?
No.
Very good. Logically, that makes a lot of sense. So this blue line is the equator, and we have what is that? I can't see it.
Santiago.
Yeah, that is Santiago. It got really small on my screen. Santiago to Johannesburg. Is that
Yep.
Johannesburg? Okay, and it goes up to Senegal, right? So it flies all the way up Senegal, sorry, and then all the way down. Why would it do that? If you look at it on a flat Earth map, not have a straight line. Okay, let's look at another one. We got Buenos Aires to Johannesburg. It stops in Amsterdam. Okay. On a flat Earth map, much better route. Okay. Auckland to Mexico City. Why doesn't it fly directly to Mexico City? There's plenty of people in Auckland that want to go see the pyramids in Mexico City, but it goes all the way up to Los Angeles. On a flat Earth, pretty much a straight line. Right? Again, Sydney to what did one say?
Montevideo.
Montevideo. It goes all the way up again to Los Angeles. Right? Sydney, Los Angeles, Montevideo. These are actual plane routes, and they cross the equator again twice. Why don't they just stay on the bottom of the ball? Right? So here is that's not the one I wanted. Here is, if I could find it. Santiago to Australia goes all the way up to the East Coast, West Coast, and then all the way back down, crossing the equator. Okay? But if you look at it on a flat Earth map, kind of goes up and across. Never, ever is there a flight from a northern location two northern locations, like any 2 points on the north would never have to cross the equator, and they never do. No origin in the north, the destination in the north ever crosses the equator. Okay, so when we look at a flight like this, so you get the latitude and longitude of these two southern origin and destination, and take equal northern latitudes, find two airports at equal northern latitudes. Never, ever does the plane dip down into the south and then go back up. And that's because this is how the world is set up. This is the flat Earth. Now, there's been many emergency landings that happen. So NASA is in charge of radar, in charge of GPS, in charge of all international flight routes. And they're the if you're not aware of this yet, they're not real. They're just a complete deception. We'll get into that. A flight from Taiwan to Los Angeles. Right about here, there was an emergency. Somebody was having a baby or having a heart attack. I'm not sure what it was. And they say, we need to land immediately. And they were told to go where? Where would you tell them to go?
Hawaii.
Probably Hawaii.
That'd be good. Or maybe go all the way to Los Angeles. Nope. They sent them thousands of miles out of the way to Alaska. Why would they do that? Taiwan, emergency, Alaska. Hawaii's out here. There's a book called 16 Emergency Landings. You can get it free online, PDF, or you can order it. I love it. It's a coffee table book because anyone that comes over accidentally picks it up, their lives are ruined. They lose their friends and family because they become flat earthers. It's a whole deal. But in the end, they're happy. It's just a painful process for a little while, right? So are you guys aware that we never went to the moon?
I've heard that because I'll say this. I spent a lot of time working frontline security. And when you work night shifts and you work with other folks, you go through a lot of different conspiracy theories. So this one I have heard before.
Okay. And, I used to hear it too. And it was an interesting conspiracy theory. And, I heard that, you got a NASA advisor, an astronaut, sci-fi author, a movie director, administrator of the Apollo projects, all in Hollywood together just before the Apollo mission. That's just a coincidence, we'll say. That's a coincidence, okay? They were just happened to be there. What could they possibly be faking? So if NASA was really in space, if you caught them lying once about being in space, that's all you need. But what if you caught them? I can't even count how many times because it's countless. Here's once they had a fresh lemon that came up on the Soyuz, and they were playing with it, and it kind of went out of frame. And when the hand went to get it, hand went right through the lemon. It's not real. It's called augmented reality, and they're manipulating CGI objects in real time to make the viewer think that they're real. Another example was this woman here. Look at that, right through her hand. Not real, busted. Okay. This is real, filled with helium. This, oh, there it is not real. Okay. It's a stuffed animal. They're talking to kids. They're brainwashing kids, and they're playing with Paxi. This is their new, let me just show you that again. Okay. They're manipulating. It's called augmented reality. And they even made a little Star Trek beaming graphic, and they even made a beaming noise when it came in. Why are they doing this? Because they put it right in our faces. It's the leap motion augmented reality technology, and they're just manipulating things in real time. Okay. And they screw up all the time. They screw up all the time. Like this guy, he went down the hallway and he took a turn, but look, his arm faded out before he got around the corner. Look right there, the thing on the wall. You can see through him because this guy, they do all different techniques. But you know what the zero-G plane is? The parabolic flights that you can take, and you get about 20 to 40 seconds of weightlessness.
Okay.
Plane does a parabolic arc, and you float. He's just on a parabolic plane, and there is no right-hand turn. So he went down, he kind of went to the side, and then he just faded him out, right? And he's on a parabolic plane. This is a parabolic flight, and this is the plane, and this is it decked out to look a little bit more like the space station. But these guys aren't in space. This is a simulation or just a test. This was live on the news, and while they were talking to like Channel 7 News years ago, all of a sudden they crashed into the wall, and they cut away, and they're like, "Oh, there was a catastrophic a shift of the space station." And what it was the plane came out of the parabolic arc sooner than they expected. They were only, because the news is like, we only have like 40 seconds, to reach them with the satellites nonsense, right? But I turned the video sideways, compared it to the end of a parabolic flight, kind of looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this guy catches this roll of duct tape with his left hand and another item like he's done it 500 times. Okay. Like a boss. This is a parabolic flight. Okay. We can go on and on and on with the deceptions. When astronauts are doing spacewalks, they're in pools or they're hanging from wires, and they use green screens to make it look like they're really in space when in fact they're not. Right? This is the Argos system, where they when they say they use it to practice for their spacewalks, right? But when you look at this and compare it to a spacewalk, it's the same thing. Questions?
No, none yet.
So the International Space Station, I've seen it go by. I got the tracker. Hey, we're going to get a good view of the space station tonight. I went to the top of a hill, showed up right when it was supposed to. I see this bright light on the horizon. Took about 8 minutes to get across the sky, maybe even less. And I'm like, how is the sun reflecting off of that brighter than any star in the sky? You know, it's like 10 times brighter than even a planet looks. Like, how is the sun reflecting off of something to my eyes perfectly without it even flickering? You can't get something to reflect in one direction as it's moving. And it's moving 17,000 miles an hour in that 8 minutes. It should have been over California before it was gone for me. Okay. But it wasn't. It was only visible here. That tells you it's something smaller, something closer, something moving slower. Right. And did you know that the International Space Station, the most technological advanced vehicle or whatever you want to call it, was never assembled on Earth? It was just put up into the sky, and they never took any photos or videos of it being assembled. Not one. You just get this animation. And it's an impossible structure, right? You know about NASA has the biggest vacuum chamber on Earth. They can't even get all the air out of it. The walls are 10 or 11 feet thick, steel and concrete. And if they sucked any more air out of it, it would collapse. But this tin can somehow is in a complete vacuum, and everything's fine. Everything's fine. And also, anytime there's a problem on the space station, it's something on the outside. So they have to do a spacewalk, and they're out there with the wrench for 8 hours, and they tighten one nut, and they fix it. Okay? How many things are on the outside of a submarine? Nothing. Everything's on the inside. Why is everything on the outside on the space station? Right? It's because it's all nonsense. It's all fake. Nobody is in space. Every rocket that you've seen gone up doesn't have any people on it. It goes up and it goes out and it goes away. Have you watched any of the SpaceX launches?
I haven't actually.
Right. Well, if you watch here's one that went up last year, and I call this the 2-pack rocket because it's a hologram, not real. And you can tell it's a hologram when there's no smoke trail. You see all the smoke come out of the ground, but then you have this perfectly clean flame. Where's the smoke? What kind of fuel are they using? But something went wrong, right? So they always zoom in, you don't see, but something went wrong, and watch the top of the rocket. Now, we were zooming around on some photos of NASA's property, and we saw these big spotlights, and we zoomed in on one of them, and we got the serial number or the company name, and we looked it up. It was a holographic projection company. Why does NASA have holographic projectors on their lawn?
Interesting.
Why are they faking going into space? You're going to get to why the lie. We'll get there in a minute. All right. Don't ask that question yet. All right. Why would they lie? Why would they lie? This is a SpaceX rocket. This is my favorite. This is the rocket that's going to go to Mars. Now, you're going to watch this, and I'm going to ask you, do you think it's real or do you think it's not real? Look at the editing. We get this picture. Now, look again, clean flame. It's moving up really slow. Now, look at the angle the guy's filming it from the ground. So it's not very high because we're getting a good side shot of it. And the engine seems to be burning out. It looks like 50 feet in the sky? Oh, no. Now it's like a half a mile up. Is it low? Ground shot says it's low. Space shot says it's pretty damn high. Okay. Ground shot says low. Now the engines are off. 40,000 pounds free falling out of the sky. Does this look like 40,000 pounds free falling? Look at the smoke. Ready now. Look at the steam coming off of it. Is this free falling at 1,000 miles an hour? Now look how high it is. All of a sudden it's in space. This is unedited footage. Now watch this. This thing is supposedly free falling. Free falling. Oh, look how high it is. Okay. And then the engines are going to come on. It's going to turn upright. They're going to get a Superman shot from underneath it. Ready? Here go the engines. It's going to magically turn over. Edit. We're right underneath it. Now watch. 2 of the 3 engines are going to go off. Well, now, like, look at the smoke. Is this thing moving? Is this free falling out of the sky? And then CGI smoke, and it lands upright. Was that real or was that really fake? Because if you say really fake before you answer, you have to know that all space travel is nonsense.
So what about these people that can pay to go up there?
So the billionaires in space. Okay. So they've been threatening that, to take people up into space, forever. But all of a sudden you got Jeff Bezos, you got William Shatner, you got, what's his name? Shatner, his name will come to me in a second. Oh, Brandon. So here they are in space. Again, what are we seeing here? This is just the guy that made the video. Has himself tumbling through there. They always have a blonde with long hair. So look, we're in space. Richard Branson looks like he's about to throw up. He's on a 0G plane. He's not even on that little plane that he landed on. Okay. And this is pre-recorded. And then he comes in on his glider. They did it on a 0G plane. They did a whole bunch of filming, pre-recorded it, and then they showed it as live. Okay. We exposed that they're like, he didn't go to space. He just went up, really high. And Neil deGrasse Tyson had to backpedal and say, yeah, they didn't really go to space. They went up, they got some 0G. Now, supposedly he had 0G for 4.5 minutes. Well, you can't do 4.5 minutes on a 0G plane, maybe 45 seconds at the most on a perfect parabolic arc. Well, guess what? They don't show more than 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Most of the clips are 3 seconds. Any floating clips are short clips. They're not showing an extended 4-minute clip. 2 1,000, 3 1,000. It's like 3, 4, 5 seconds, maybe. Right? They're mocking us in such a way. These sexual pervert, deviant Satanists run this world. And they laugh at us. Here, this one's going to make you laugh. This is Jeff Bezos' rocket. You've seen his rocket. You know what it looks like, right?
I see what it looks like right now.
Yeah. And every time they show it, the cameraman has this up and down motion, not side to side, up and down motion, right? What's he doing? They're mocking us, okay? They love sexual mockery. It's unreal. And you're like, wait a minute, this is too much, okay? If you look at his rocket and then Virgin Galactic's rocket, I don't know, is that just a coincidence? Right? And then they can't even fake Captain Kirk in space. Okay? Look, all the wrinkles are the same. They're wearing, it's the same thing. They just put his head on here. Okay? Why? They can't even take a photo with this fat liar in a suit. Okay? He's really fat, by the way. Okay? And this 90-year-old man goes up on this rocket. I don't know if you saw it. It landed hard. It went bam. It came down. First, it's coming down. It's got 3 parachutes. But then when it landed, there was only 2 parachutes. They can't even get the filming of it right. It hit big cloud of smoke, right? It slammed into the ground. Now, let me ask you a question. When you go to a horse race or a marathon or a bike race or anything, what's at the finish line? An ambulance. There's always paramedics there, right? Always paramedics. This thing came from space, crashed down to the ground with a 90-year-old man in it. No paramedics, no ambulances, no nothing. Just a bunch of pseudo news crews talking just nonsense. And then him coming out, he comes out, he's fine, and his acting, it's so ridiculous. I don't know how anyone can possibly believe it. And here's why people do believe it. Because we're trusting. We're like, they couldn't lie. This is too big. There's too many people. They would never lie on this level. But this lie is the most important lie that they have. It's the one that keeps us in slavery, essentially. What about the guys on the Challenger that blew up? Remember that? Remember the Challenger rocket that went up and exploded?
Oh,
with
yeah.
the school teacher on it? That was the first time a shuttle went up and they brought televisions into every classroom for kids. And then they blew it up, and the teacher that was going to be the first teacher in space died.
Wow.
So what happened to that? Well, nobody was on it. It's funny that we have found 6 of the 7 astronauts that are on there that all have identical twins that have the same birthday, same name, and they all work for universities now. Right? So, all right, maybe NASA likes getting someone that's a twin so they can, hey, let's measure the twins' bone density that didn't go into space and the one that did, that you can make that argument. Cool story, bro. But funny thing is, none of the twins showed up at the funeral of their sibling. None of them.
Hmm.
If you were brought up and they taught you that the earth was flat and stationary, just like every sense we have tells us, and that all of the luminaries in the sky turn around above us and reset every year. And then one day, Dave Weiss came up to you and said, no, 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 no. We're corkscrewing through space like a friggin' beehive. You would think I was insane, because I would be insane. Let me show you how the sky works, and then you can hopefully ask a question. So this is my app. And if you Google flat Earth, you're going to get all nonsense. You're going to get their shill videos. You're not going to find the important videos that will teach you anything. So wherever the sun is, it's noon. And you see that the sun and the moon are going clockwise around the flat Earth. And you just saw the moon jump back. That's just because we changed days. And I'm going to speed it up, and you'll see that the sun laps the moon once every 28 times around. So the moon is now in a new moon phase, and after another lap, it'll come out. It'll be a waxing crescent, and as the sun gets ahead of the moon will grow in size. So the sun keeps track of the hours and the days. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months, and it works its way around through its lunar month, 28 days. There used to be 13 months of 28 days, but they hijacked our calendar. We slow it down. I'll turn on the stars. You'll see the stars also go clockwise, right? Even though they tell us that the moon is going in the opposite direction of the sun and stars, but for some reason, everything rises in the east and sets in the west, stars, moon, and sun. All right. So the stars are going slightly faster than the sun, slightly. So slightly that unlike the sun that laps the moon every 28 days, the stars lap the sun once a year. So right now we're in this constellation. Next month we'll be in this one. The following month will be in this one. And then it works its way around. Next year, same night, same day, same time. The sun will be exactly here in this constellation. And that's where the sun, that's how the stars work. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. Speaking of seasons, let's talk about how seasons work. This inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. You guys have heard of that. And the outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. And this red line in the middle is the Tropic of Cancer. So right now, the sun is migrating out towards the Tropic of Capricorn, right? So let's jump forward to November December, end of December, which is beginning of January, that's when the sun is out over the Tropic of Capricorn. Now, South Africa is having their summer because the sun is directly over them. It's close to them, closest high in the sky, like a street light over your head versus a street light down the road, which is lower in the sky, farther away. Central America is having their summer. America is having their winter, right? And Florida is pretty close. It's still nice in Florida because it's not that far away. It's almost in the tropical zone, which is in between the yellow lines. Cold in Connecticut. Australia is having their summer because the sun is high in the sky. It's close to them, right? Imagine you got two street lights on a street, 50 yards apart, whatever, 100 yards apart, and you're standing under one. That's your summer sun. The one that's over there is your winter sun. It's lower in the sky. It's farther away, right? So now I'll jump the sun to June, January. So in June, the sun is all the way in that inner track, right? Guess where it's really hot in America? Miami, because the sun goes right over Miami. It goes right over South Mexico and Southern California. It's hot. Connecticut, not bad. I'm in Connecticut. You know, the sun's as close as it's going to get. Sun's high in the sky. I can feel the heat of the sun. Even though in the heliocentric model, they tell us that the sun is 3.5 million miles farther away from us in our summer. 3.5 million miles farther away, but that sun is hot. Even at sunrise. Where are you guys located?
We're in Ontario. So we're
in Ontario, so it's never warm. So it's never warm. Okay. So, and that's because you're farther away from the sun. You're all the way in here. Okay. So the closest the sun is ever going to get to you is over Miami. That's the closest it'll ever get to you. So it's farther in the sky. You go to Miami in June, the sun is at noon is directly over your head. You hold a stick up, there's no shadow because it's directly over your head. Okay. So one thing before I turn this off is the Arctic is the north and the Antarctic is the south. Well, the north is the center. So anything inside of this yellow line, we'll call it the Arctic region. And anything outside of the Tropic of Capricorn, we'll call it the Antarctic region. So let me just speed it up. If you're in the Arctic region, what's the sun do? It's arcing around you. You see that? It's arcing around you. But if you're in the outside this line out here or out here in Antarctica, what is the sun doing? It's not arcing around you. It's antarcing. It's coming towards you and going away. It's antarcing. The Antarctic and the Arctic, they're telling us exactly what's happening with the Arctic and the Antarctic. So real quick, and then I'll get out of the app. Every day there's a new featured video, and this is what I tell people. I'm offering 3 Bitcoins for 1 proof of the globe. If you think I'm crazy, it's just because you've been programmed, right? 1 proof of the globe, you win 3 Bitcoins, okay? 3 Bitcoins. But what you have to do is watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks. Short videos during the week, probably longer ones on the weekend, depending on what I come up with. And at the end of that 2 weeks, if you think the Earth is the globe and you have a proof, you can send it to me. But before you do, you have to hit the question mark. And up comes the top questions you're going to ask. Hey, what about tides? What about seasons? What about eclipses? If you click what about eclipses, up come a playlist of videos that YouTube doesn't want you to see. They don't want you to find these videos. They're still there for now. But if you search them by name, they won't even come up. Okay? They're shadow. It's called shadow banning.
Yeah, right? That's not unusual at all. So
yeah. Well, it's because they don't want whatever you find that they're censoring, follow that trail because that's something that they're lying about. Tons of other resources in here. Like our video will be here under interviews. The map that I showed you, the app map is here, the one that shows you the whole world. Mud floods on the right there. I don't know if you looked into mud floods, but the true history of our world, everything's a lie. There is an advanced civilization here in the 1800s and before, far more advanced than we are now. But there was a massive reset that happened. Full-length documentaries down at the bottom there, bottom center. That one, it just great videos. Like, hey, instead of turning on TV or going out to the movies or renting a movie, hit one of those. Get the popcorn out. They're awesome, well done videos. If I hit the full length videos, these are great full length videos that will blow your mind when it comes to flat Earth. And I always tell people, if you can get through even 3 of those videos, look, little censorship right there. If you can get through 3 of those videos and not be a flat earther, I don't know what to say other than you're probably too fluoridated or something. I'm not sure. There's books in here. There's flat Earth merchandise. If you're a flat earther, you're always looking for cool flat Earth things. There's all sorts of stuff. There's images that you can access when you're trying to teach people about flat Earth, like this. You believe we went to the moon in this? Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Are you looking? Okay.
Oh, man.
Did they buy the stuff from Lockheed Grumman or did they go to the arts and crafts store? Okay. Tinfoil, cardboard, paper mache, tape, curtain rods. Look at this. Look at that. Just look at that. That's on the moon. That's an official NASA photo. Okay. Look at this. $34 million in 1964 built the SR-71 Blackbird, most aerodynamic aircraft in the world. Look how slick that thing is. It's a razor blade. And then in 1972, for $50 million, they built that homeless tweaker shelter, okay, that took men to the moon. Okay, here's the thing. You guys have these beliefs. I'm not picking on you, but I ask everything I ask you. I was like, have you ever looked? No, I never watched. No, I didn't look. But people hear the stories. They're like, oh, yeah, that's really cool. And then they just believe because you're good people. You want to believe that there isn't this much deception in the world. Okay. Green screens. The National Buoyancy Lab is where they do all of their training. And then they show us what's on the bottom. Many times we see when they're doing spacewalks, we see the bubbles. They see bubbles in space, little bubbles escape, right? Tons of stuff. Photos of Earth. Which one do you like? Which fake picture of Earth do you think looks the best? Right? Tons of stuff. Right? Whoops. All right, let me get out of there. So tons of resources there. If you here, well, let me show you one more thing. This is the wind map of the world. And if I set it to 10 HPA, which is about 40,000 feet, look at, those they showed us the trade winds, which are big sine wave. But if you lay that on a flat map, this is what it looks like. That's what it looks like on a flat Earth map instead of that crazy, ridiculous sine wave that made no sense. Pretty cool.
Interesting. So I guess the question I have is looking at the flat Earth theory. So, and just correct me if I'm understanding wrong here, but the theory is that the Earth is stationary and then everything else is kind of moving around it. Is that
correct? Now, there's not other planets because when we look at other planets, they're just lights in the sky. So, for example, this is a fake spacecraft approaching Jupiter, and this is what they show us. Jupiter is this gassy planet. I would say a gassy planet is less reflective than maybe Earth, right? The albedo of the planet, it's gassy planet, how much is it going to reflect? Now, if you look at the sun from Earth, the sun is, the size of a, quarter held at arm's length. But if you're all the way out on Jupiter, the sun is tiny. The sun is like the size of a Tic Tac held at arm's length, right? So you have to believe that Tic Tac sun is shining light on that non-albedo, dusty gas ball planet, reflecting back to Earth, and then you see it as the brightest star in the sky. Okay? I don't know if you guys have looked up. Jupiter's been in the sky for the last month or so. It's brighter. It's 3 times as bright as any other object in the sky other than the moon. Okay? But you believe that tic-tac sun is reflecting light off of it back to our eye where it looks like a little piece of the sun. That's impossible. The inverse square law of light proves that to be impossible. But we see it, we believe it because we were told that that's what it is. When we zoom in on planets, we don't see what NASA shows us. We see something completely different. Like when we zoom into Mars, this is Mars through a super zoom camera. We don't get, when NASA shows us planets, they show us these cartoons. Like if you Google the latest picture of Pluto, NASA photo of Pluto, there's literally Pluto, the Disney dog, the Disney animal on the planet. This is the latest photo, official photo of NASA. What is this? What is this friggin' desert? Okay. You know that Pluto the planet and Pluto the dog were created and discovered in the same year? You know who Werner von Braun is?
I don't.
He's a NASA scientist that was not a NASA, a Nazi scientist that was brought over to start NASA. All right. The Russians had some good rocket guys. We forgive them for whatever they've done, and we bring them over to run NASA. All right, I'll buy it, but I don't buy it. And in 1950s, he wrote a book called Project Mars about a group of people that went to Mars to start a new colony. Interesting, right? Elon Musk built this to go to Mars. In this book, guess what the name of the leader of the colony was?
Was it Elon?
It was Elon. What are the odds of that? And Elon said a couple months ago, he tweeted, I think I want to redesign our Mars rocket and make it pointier. Okay. What are the odds of this? Right? This thing goes Mach 3.2, the SR-71. Any faster, and the wind turbulence rips it apart. It's like a razor blade. You know why it's black and doesn't have any paint on it? Because it gets so hot, the paint would just burn off. Like it's outside, heats up to over 500 degrees, flying at Mach 3.2. This inflated garbage can supposedly goes 25,000 miles an hour. 2,000, 25,000, right? 10 times faster on its way into space. It's got PVC pipes running down the side of it. It's got blunt noses. If you look at the way it connects, it's literally a flat plate. It's not a razor blade. It's a garbage can. I doubt it could go 100 miles an hour. And when the shuttle comes in, it has to come in just right because of the heat shield, right? It's coming in at like, I don't know, 10, like well under the speed that it went out at. But on the way out, it doesn't need a heat shield. On the way in, it does. Okay. If you look at, people, what about all the people that watch the launches? Well, no one's near it. The launches are totally fake. Sometimes they don't launch anything like the 2-pack rocket. And other times they launch this. This orange tank is a helium balloon filled with helium. Guess who owns all of the helium companies in the world and is the largest consumer of helium themselves? Begins with an N, has an A in it. Another A.
Go figure.
Okay. And so these people are nowhere near this. This is just an edit to make you think that they're right there. This is all a big bouncy house filled with helium with a light show. See this fence right here? The thrust from this rocket should pulverize this fence, but it doesn't even wiggle. Then you see all this smoke. You see this thing going up pretty slow, and then it rolls over on its back because the helium balloon has to be on the upside, and then it flies sideways at a range, and they say that's because of the spin of the Earth. But if you Google space shuttle launch, you'll find this video, and you'll hear it with the sound, and you watch when it's about 30 miles downrange. And look, this is not a hologram because it's got a smoke trail. This is actually blowing out, this is a firework on a balloon, leaving a smoke trail. And look how slow it's going. Come on. This thing is barely moving. I don't think it's going 50 miles an hour. Now, at this point, it might be CGI, but in a second, these solid rocket boosters are going to let go. They say they can't turn them off once they're lit, right? So when they let go, they should rocket forward, right? This thing's going over 17,000 miles an hour. I don't think so, right? But you see that little burst in the show it again. That burst, when it happens, you hear it go, psh, right? Ready? When you see that, bam, you hear it at the exact same time. What do we know about thunder and lightning? If it was only 20 miles downrange, we wouldn't hear that noise for over 90 seconds. But we hear it and see it at the same time because it's a movie, right? This is CGI. Look at this thing going 17,000 miles an hour sideways, going sideways. So now what happens? This thing falls off. It finally lets go of this. And this falls back to Earth and it burns up before it hits the clouds. Well, guess what? The guys that are on the shuttle are filming this out the window with a handheld camera. How is that possible? They're on their way up at 25,000 miles an hour. This thing's falling back to Earth and it's about to burn up. Now watch, see that piece of paper that just went by? That just shows you that this thing is floating. This is a Macy's Day Parade balloon, okay? Another piece of paper is going to come by right here to show you that it's barely moving. It's just drifting in the wind. Coming by at any second. There it goes. It just went by. So look at this thing. This is going to burn up before it gets to those clouds. I think that they're filming up, looking at the clouds, and they're just making you think that it's down. And there's a helicopter following this. Or even another balloon with people on it. I don't know. But this is not falling down. How are they filming this from a rocket, from a shuttle that's heading into space? Mm-hmm. Right? It's a lot to take in, and it destroys your world foundation. And some people kind of just like, I'm not going to think about this. I'm just going to go live my life. And because why does it matter? And the answer is, why does it matter? It matters so much because everything you have in your life is because of the way that you think. Well, they're controlling your mind. They have you in a prison. That prison is the ball. It limits your thoughts. They have you watching television, the news. The news is hypnotic, keep you in fear, total mind control. They want you to believe that, a crazy dictator from North Korea is going to blow us up with nuclear bombs, when if you ever look into it, you'll find out that nuclear bombs don't exist. Okay? Crazy. What about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? 3 days later, the sandwich shops were open, the trains were running, people were back to work. Flowers are being sold on the street. Does that sound like a nuclear bomb? There was an explosion. It was all TNT. Fire. That's it. And everything was back. Nobody was allowed to make a news report or take a photo. If you did, you were put in jail, except one guy. One guy was the only one reporting what was going on there, and it was all controlled. It was to keep us in fear. Because if you're in fear, you think that we're running out of space, we're running out of fuel, we're running out of water, we're running out of food, we're running out of resources, we're running out of everything. We're overpopulated, the weather's changing. Then you're going to give up your God-given freedom for some government, govern the mind, govern is to control, meant is the mind, to take care of you. When in fact, no government ever has taken care of its citizens. And look what's going on in the world right now. I don't know how you guys feel about what's going on, but a guy whose family started the biggest eugenics program called Planned Parenthood, who says himself the world population needs to be substantially decreased, is the one that's going to save us all from a pseudo bug, from a spooky bug. That's insanity. And the way they get away with this is because we're spinning out of control. We're lost in space. We don't know who we are. We don't know the power of our minds. We don't know that we are free. Our freedom isn't granted to us. We are free. The only power that anyone has over you is in your imagination. And the only thing that's ever gone to space is your imagination.
Well, on that note, this was a lot to take in.
Yeah, definitely a lot to take in.
So here's my suggestion, and you guys seem to be listening and weren't asking questions, so I kind of just went on. If you Google flat Earth, you don't even need to. Just remain a baller because you're not going to find the information. Check out the app. It's $3. Okay. If you don't want to get the app, that's fine. Just go to my website, flatearthdave.com, and tons of the videos are there. They're all free. Okay. My YouTube channel, DITRH. Just the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. All my videos are under 5 minutes, or most of them are. Okay. Right. Start there. It's like a crack dealer. Just have a little bit. Just have a little bit. Right. Have a little bit. Have a little bit. All right. And then if you think I'm crazy, come collect your Bitcoins. But I warn you, if you really try, you're going to end up being a flat earther and lose your friends and family for a little while until they come around. So that's all I got to say about that. Don't let them control your mind with cartoons, because that's what they do. Our everything that we're shown that literally is controlling us is a cartoon. And if I had my graphic that I wanted to show you, which is hiding, the question you have to ask yourself is, why do I believe in space travel? And did they show me anything other than cartoons? And the answer is, before you could talk. And no, they haven't. Here's the graphic I wanted. They're controlling our mind with cartoons. None of it is real. It's a lot to take in, right? Because we want to trust people. You want your parents. You want to trust your parents. They're probably trustworthy. The government is kind of like our parents, like the big parents of the whole country, but they're not. They're evil. Maybe not everyone in government, but anyone in any position of power is corrupted. And so if we ever get our freedom back, even for a little bit, the question is, how long can we hold on to it if we're spinning out of control, lost in space, think that we're on a speck flying through a godless or distant God universe, when in fact we're at the center of creation. This place is intelligently designed and there is a creator. They don't want us in a position where we can't deny creation. Right? They want us believing we came from a big bang, bam, and everything just turned into planets and suns, and lightning struck, it created an amoeba, and it had a monkey, and the monkey had a human. That's what they want us believing, that we're insignificant in an insignificant spot in an ever-expanding infinite universe, godless. They don't want us knowing that we're at the center of creation and we have amazing powers, and that it all used to be here over 100 years ago. I interviewed a woman, real quick, named Ruth, 102 years old, about the World's Fairs. Her memory was so good. I asked her about what they taught her about the Earth in elementary school. She said, they taught me the Earth was flat. In the 1920s, in Connecticut public schools, all across the realm, they were teaching flat Earth, even through the 1930s and into the 1940s. And there's still some places on Earth that teach it today. The Bible is a flat Earth book. The Quran is a flat Earth book. There's tons of flat Earth books out there. They lied about all of our history. They lied how long this lie has been. They said the Greeks figured it out 2,000 years ago with Aristophanes and the sticks and shadows, but that actually works perfectly on a flat Earth with a small local sun. She found out she couldn't. She was so happy. She's like, I knew it my whole life. So again, if you want the easy way to learn about flat Earth is get the app, watch the video every day. Just while you're having breakfast, watch the video. And what will happen is you'll watch another video and you'll watch another video, and then you'll call into work sick. Like, I can't come in today. I got to watch more flat Earth videos. Okay. And then you'll wake up, and then you'll start seeing this. And, if you're unsure about the app, just go to the App Store and read the reviews. The reviews will tell you, the reviews will turn you into a flat earther, right? Are you a blue dot? Are you a blue dot on the map, right? That's what this is about.
There you go.
Well, yeah, you answered the next question I was going to ask, which was where we can find out more. So that's, that gives us a lot to, again, you use perfect analogy there when you talk about the rabbit hole, because there's so much there.
The flat Earth, sun, moon, and zodiac clock app, which you'll probably forget, the easiest way to remember, and there's a fake one in the Google Play Store, so watch out for that. Make sure it's by Blue Water Bay. But the easiest way, Flat Earth Dave, flatearthdave.com. The link to the app is there. There's lots of videos there. Listen to my podcast. If you have a long commute, like some audio to listen to the Flat Earth podcast. Start from the beginning. Get through 5 episodes, and you too will lose your family and friends because you'll be a flat earther.
Oh, man. Well,
okay.
So now the choice is up to you what you do with the doors I just pointed to. There's a lot of them out there. Right?
There is. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Dave. This is a fascinating conversation. I appreciate it. And, there's a new rabbit hole to go down.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Send me a link when you put this up, especially if you put the video up, and I'll share it on the app and point people to your podcast.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks. See ya.